Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing? I do apologise for being a few minutes late there. You're going to have to bear with me. I sound very croaky. Let me tell you why. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. How do you guys get me to do webinars at this time in the morning? In order to cover the time zones currently where we're living, we are the ones that have to get up in the middle of the night in order to be able to make sure that we get all you guys. So, God, do I sound croaky? Do I? It's 4 p.m. in Florida. I know that, Joe. It is exactly 12 hours difference. Goodness me, yep. So do bear with me. Do you know what? I do coaching calls for my students, for my members of the SNA, and the calls always start with me sounding really croaky, and then in an hour I'm like, woohoo, let's do it. So yeah, I know. Poor Joe. It's terrible to live in paradise. And I have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I know. So anyway, hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining me. We have 350 people on the call. How cool is that, to have 350 people here? So thank you very much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Tonight we're talking about... Now, this is interesting what we're talking about tonight, actually, because we're talking about content. And I kind of had a presentation that I was going to do with you guys. And then all of a sudden, something huge happened this week, didn't it? Facebook decided they were going to completely change everything. So I still have the same content, but I've kind of added a little twist to it towards the end. So that'll be interesting for us all. So what I want to do, without any further ado, is crack on. I'd love to obviously say good morning to everybody, like, you know, I like to do, but there are so many people on this call, it would take me goodness knows how long to sit here and say hi to everybody. So, I am going to just crack straight on with this webinar, if that's okay with you guys. So let me show my screen. Okay, goody. Alrighty. Can everybody see my screen? Can I just check that A, everybody can hear me, and B, everybody can see my screen? Yes. Good. Fantastic. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Excellent. Lovely job. Good. Let's crack on then. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to now move my webinar control panel out of the screen so that I don't see that, and my wonderful partner Rhett will deal with any questions or queries you've got, and will also grab me if there are any sound or sight issues. Okay, now I have I'm using Keynote actually for Mac, and I have had issues with this before on presentations. So I have adjusted a setting that apparently means that everybody will be able to see it, no problem at all. So if you do have any issues at all through the webinar, do just let us know, and I will obviously revert to a different screen. So content, guys, that is what we're talking about here. We're talking about how to create and curate killer content. Now, I'm going to start the webinar kind of going down a fairly standard road. I'm not going to tell you anything really dramatic. You've probably heard a lot of it before, but then we're going to get into some really meaty stuff. So what is killer content is what I kind of want to talk about, and what is some of the best content on Facebook. I've kind of changed that one a little bit actually. I want to go through some of the components of writing great content, how to access and share brilliant content in less than 5 minutes, in less than 30 seconds, in fact, in some cases, some consistent inspiration, and what you need to go and do. So what is killer content? Okay, guys, come on, it's fairly obvious, isn't it? Content is what people will read, watch, or listen to. More importantly, what people actually look forward to reading, watching, and listening to. Yeah? So we can all create great content, but killer content is when people are actually looking forward to your content coming out. They're thinking, yay, you know, this is going to happen next week, or this is coming out on Tuesday, or we're really looking forward to it. Now, of course, with social media, it's about content that people comment on, people share, people start talking about, and people want to follow. But I'm not going to turn and tell you all that you've got to create loads and loads of viral content. To create content that goes viral, that people share everywhere, is actually quite challenging, to be honest with you. And there's a lot of people out there desperately trying to do it. So, you know, we're not all going to suddenly become the next kind of viral, you know, mastermind, but we should all be creating great content that people actually want to receive from you. They're looking forward to receiving it from you. More importantly, they want to comment on it, they want to share it, and they want to tell all their friends about it. Okay? So what kind of content am I talking about? Well, we can all do articles and blog posts. I've just recently started my blog. Has it gone viral overnight? Absolutely not. Are we getting a reasonable amount of comments on it? Yeah, you know, we're not doing bad. But here we go. I started posting about the recent Facebook changes, which of course are incredibly topical. Yeah, and you may think when you go and do content, oh well, somebody else is already covering that. Don't worry about it. Get out there, do it. Get in there, add your own opinion, add your own thing to it. I started talking about Facebook changes, and all of a sudden our views to our blog doubled overnight. So what we'd achieved in the last month, we kind of achieved within, you know, times 10, let's just say, times 10. So what we'd achieved over the last sort of month, we achieved in a couple of days. So it's very, very important that you know that you write about topical things. But what else is content these days? It's not just big articles and blog posts. It's actually just very, very simple status updates, questions, tweets. I mean, we're in a world now, aren't we, where we're getting used to actually writing things that are less than 140 characters to get our message out there. So, you know, we now need to start thinking about what is interesting to people in literally a sentence. What catches people's attention in a sentence? What else, though, can we do? We do videos, how-to videos, pre-recorded videos, live shows. Live is becoming very, popular this year. Lots of people are doing live stream things. So live shows. All of you have been absolutely scared to get onto video. Now all of a sudden it's going live. That's even more scary. I'm scared to go live, to be honest with you. And general updates. We can do webinars. What I'm actually doing with you guys tonight, this is essentially content. I'm recording this and I'm going to get this out as a replay. And when it goes out as a replay, it's content. It's out there as content, yeah? We can do interviews with people. If you look at therisetothetop.com, www.therisetothetop.com, and www.mixergy.com, you'll see David Simon Garland on the Rise to the Top and Andrew from Mixergy, and these guys have built businesses on interviewing people. Okay, so interviews is a good way. We can do seminars, live seminars, courses, and then of course you've got radio and TV. But here's what I would like you to do now, guys. I'd like you to actually do an exercise, and in 5 seconds or flat, I'd like you to sit down and name 3 things that you learn from school or college, right? And then as soon as you've done that, in 5 seconds flat, I'd like you to, if you're from the UK, you'll know what EastEnders is. If not, then use Friends or any other popular American sitcom, and name in 5 seconds 3 characters. Do that now. I'm literally telling you to do that now. Name 3 things you learned from school or college, and then in 5 seconds flat, name 3 characters from your favourite sitcom. Everybody done? I'm not looking at your questions, so I'm going to presume that you are. What I'd like to ask you guys is how many of you actually were able to name the 3 characters from your sitcom a lot quicker, yeah, than you were able to name the 3 things that you learned from school or college. Are there yeses on the questions? Yeah, lots of yeses. Yeah, yes, 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 yes. Okay, I want to tell you why that is. Because if you can try and adopt a story behind you or your brand, put some kind of personality to your business, and essentially become a character. It can be a real character, it can be a character slightly embellished, it's entirely up to you. Then you are going to start to catch people's attentions quicker than if you simply give them educational material. Right? Now, I'm an educator. I spend my life making videos. I am up to my what's-a-name in making videos at the moment, all about all the new changes and everything for all of our students at the SNA. But essentially, I'm not a character, but I have a story. All of my students know who I am. They know that I'm travelling. They know that I live in Thailand. They know that I have a partner. They know that I have a 5-year-old. They know that I'm doing this, business along with travelling with my family. And essentially, we have a little story. They know that I run my business with my partner. So, when they get responses and stuff, it's either from me or my other half. And there's a little kind of story going on there. Yeah, and I give them regular updates of that story. I'll tell them that Keris has just started school, or, Keris has gone to a swimming gala, or something that's happened in Thailand, or we were feeding the elephants, and I'll do lots of other kind of little stories around my educational products because it just makes things more interesting. Yeah, we look forward to future episodes of our favourite shows, because they're a bit more interesting. I don't know about you guys, right? Again, I am British, so I'm kind of talking to the English guys out there now. But I learned more about history by watching Braveheart and Mel Gibson's The First Patriot, I think it was, and The First Night with Sean Connery and Richard Gere. I learnt more about history from those films, whether it was factually correct, I'll never know, than I did from school. Why? Because the learning was told in such an entertaining and fun way. So that's kind of what I want you to be taking away tonight. So what does a great story have? Well, it kind of has a beginning, a middle and an end, doesn't it? That's kind of what a story has. So what I mean by that really, guys, is I want you to start thinking about, when you think about your brand and you and the kind of things you want to portray, I want you to start thinking about what's your history. Now, your backstory, if you like. Now, don't go crazy with this. We've all seen, haven't we? I mean, it really, really works. We've all seen the internet marketing gurus that come on and tell you, I had no money, I was, down in the doldrums, I was living in a cardboard box down a side street, and then all of a sudden I went to a seminar and boom, I was a millionaire overnight. And here I am now educating you. We've been there, haven't we? We've seen that. So keep it real, guys, okay? Keep it real. My story, my backstory is how I had a failed business that didn't work, and I learned all these lessons, and I took all of the learnings from my business and I brought them online, and I created a successful business by utilizing some of the negative issues that I had. So that's kind of my backstory. I sometimes feel that I need to embellish it a little bit, that it's just not interesting enough because, some of these backstories are incredible. But actually, it was funny. I was talking to a good friend of mine on Skype the other day, and we were talking about the ability to take action in your business, right? And I'm going to tell you a little story now, okay? I'm going to tell you a story about me, all right? And I would just ask you to give me your attention for a few minutes here. But, running an internet marketing business, running any business at all, takes action. Takes you getting out there and actually taking action. It takes you making a choice, making a decision, and deciding that there is no way that you are not going to succeed, okay? Failure is not an option. It's always been a bit of a what's name of mine. Failure is not an option. So there I was, lying on the beach in Faliraki in Rhodes, when I was about, I would say probably 26-ish, and I was over there with a good friend of mine. Her name was Rachel, and I wanted to do a bungee jump. And there were two bungee jumps on the beach. There was one to the left, which was a really, really tall one. I think it was about 180 metres high. And I fancied that one. That was over the beach. And then to my right, there was a small one, kind of a little baby one, if you like, over a swimming pool. Yeah, that was also just on the side of a hotel next to the beach. And I talked about it for a week. I want to do a bungee jump. And everybody said to me, do you know what, Joe? Go and do the baby one. Go and do the baby one, because at least you can get a feel for it. And if you really enjoy it and you like it and you think this is cool, then you can go and do the big one. Yeah? Anyway, so I'm laying there one day and I'm lying on the beach and I'm looking at these two bungee jumps, and I suddenly think, you know what? If I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. And I jump up and I start marching over to the big one. Because as far as I'm concerned, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Yeah, and my friend Rachel, she gathers up all my towels and she gathers the bags, and she's got everything because I've just walked off and I've said I'm gonna do it, and she wants to come and watch, so she's literally got everything in her hands and she's running over to the bungee jump, and I have to sign a piece of paper that says, if you die, it's not our fault. Okay, So I'm there and I'm signing this piece of paper. All right, okay, if I die, it's not the bungee jumping people's fault. And off I go into this little yellow bucket, and they tie these things around my ankles, and up we start going in this yellow bucket. And the chap next to me is an Aussie guy, and he's eating his ice cream, and as he's eating his ice cream, he happens to drop the spoon. And we both look down, yeah, to see this spoon falling from this yellow bucket all the way down. And, you know, you can't actually see the spoon hit the ground because, you know, we're now a long way up and it's a tiny little wooden ice cream spoon. So I'm now starting to get pretty nervous, and we're going up in the bucket and we're going higher and higher and higher. And I'm looking around at the beach thinking this was a really bad idea. And the guy's saying to me, okay, when we get to the top, I'm going to open this little gate and you're going to step out and I'm going to shout 3, 2, 1, bungee! And when I shout bungee, you have to jump, okay? So up we go in this little yellow bucket, all right? And we get to the top. And he opens this little gate, and I step forward and I put my feet over the edge, and I've taken a glimpse down, and I'm literally feeling like I'm about to be sick, right? Really thinking, oh god, this is awful. And he shouts 3, and that was it. I thought, if I don't go now, I'm never going to go. And I only heard 3, and I literally just fell off this bungee jump and started flying through the sky. And it was absolutely phenomenal. And I bounced down, and I bounced back up, and I bounced back down, and I bounced back up, and I bounced up and down for about, I don't know how many minutes. And when I came down from that bungee, when they finally got me to the ground, I was on such an amazing high. It was absolutely incredible. Now, you may all be thinking, why on earth is she telling us this story? This has got absolutely nothing to do with content, except it's got everything to do with content. That there is a little story about who I am and why I will always take action. Right? I could turn around to you guys, I could turn around to anybody and do a webinar on you must take action. This is so important that you go out and take action. Nobody's going to be successful unless you take action. But how boring is that? What people will remember is the bungee jumping story. They'll remember that fear, you know, and I would obviously go into it a lot more. I'd use that story and I'd embellish it, and I would talk about the fear of going up in the bucket, and I would talk about facing your fears, and you know, I would dramatize the stepping out and the falling through the sky and all the rest of it a lot more than I have with you now. I just wanted to give you you know, an example. But I would take that story, and that story would be about taking it. It's a true story. It really happened. That's exactly how it happened. I've got pictures. And it was really frightening and great, by the way. But, you know, that is a true story, and that would have so much more, so much of a greater effect on somebody about taking action than simply me sitting down and saying you must take action. Okay? So that would be one of my backstories, essentially. That would be one of my historical stories. This is what I did, this is who I am, this is why I am where I am now, because these are the kind of actions that I take. Yeah? Really? We're kind of in the middle of our story at the moment, and I'm not sure there's going to be an end. I hope there isn't. Not until I'm 110. So I'm urging you guys really to start thinking, who are you? Start pulling out of your history little stories that have shaped your life. I'm not talking about making things up here. I mean, I'm sure many people do, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm going to talk a little bit in a minute about embellishing some of the things you've done. There's nothing wrong with making it a little bit more exciting, because otherwise, why would we watch EastEnders? I mean, I don't watch EastEnders, but why would we watch, I don't know, my mum sits there and watches a programme called Midsummer Murders. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. Midsummer Murders. Huh? Oh, can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? Rhett's just telling me the sound's gone. Can everybody hear me or not? Yep. Okay, cool. So my mum watches a show called Midsummer Murders, okay? And it's about all these murders that happen in a place called Midsummer, right? I've never known so many people get killed in one small village just outside, you know, Oxford or wherever it is, or up north, I don't know where it is. So we all kind of, you know, like this stuff, so there's nothing wrong with embellishing a little bit. So I really urge you to start thinking, who are you? What's your story? What are some of the things that have happened in your life that you can kind of pull out the bag and use as great stories to give a personality to your brand? Yeah? Give a personality to your business. One of the other things I'd like you to think about is, what do you believe in? If you can start to think to yourself, okay, what are my key values? One of the things that I really want to portray to people. So for me, you know, thinking about my bungee jumping story, I mean, I believe passionately in people actually getting up and taking action and doing things. So that kind of story is a really important story for me, because that's something that's really intrinsic with my values. So start thinking about, what do you believe in? What are the kind of passionate messages that you want to portray to your audience? Okay. And what's your magic story? I've actually got magic story from a fantastic marketer who I admire and think he's just awesome, Mr. Frank Kern, attorney at law, and he talks about your magic story. And essentially, what I've just told you, I could turn that into a magic story, I suppose. I think probably my magic story would be more about how I set up my business online, what we did with our free offer, how many you know, how many subscribers we got over a short period of time, how we built a six-figure business, all of that kind of stuff. That would really be my magic story. So you need to start thinking, but remember, when I first started my business, I didn't have any of that. Yeah, so what was my magic story before that? It was all about my offline business. My magic story was all about how I'd, you know, the mistakes that I'd made and how I didn't want other people to make the same mistakes. I even wrote an ebook on it. Okay, so you need to start thinking about kind of what's your magic story. I know magic's just a, you know, a word for what's the big one. Okay, that's going to kind of, people are going to empathize with, yeah, and connect with, etc. There we go. I can show you the world. I won't start singing, seriously. That's just it's just not fair on any of you here on the call. So there's your couple of fairy tales there. Now, I'm going to carry on on the Frank Kern route, because I was watching a video of his the other day, and he talked about a few different kind of storylines, and this is my take on the kind of great storylines that are out there, or the great kind of characters, if you like. Yeah, you're kind of thinking about a character. Humbly expert is my one, and the reason I put that down is because essentially that's my character, really. I'm kind of a humble expert, and in fact, I'm so humble that I'm not even keen on the word expert. Yeah, so I'm totally outgoing, I'm totally full of myself, I make loads and loads of videos, I'll tell you all loads of stuff, but essentially I'm always saying to you, aren't I, especially my members, aren't I, oh, well, yeah, you know, we'll do this, or, you know, oh, thank you so much, but, yeah, you know, it's it's that kind of humble expert. Yeah, so you may want to these are just some suggestions of the kind of characters that you may want to adopt. So humbly expert, I like that one. There's a lot of people out there that are humbly expert. Chris Farrell, one of my greatest mentors of all time, he's a perfect example of somebody who's humbly expert. He's an absolute expert. He's got a seven-figure business, and he's so incredibly humble about it. It's absolutely fabulous. You got the rags to riches character. Now, I would urge you only to use this story if it's true. Don't make it up, you know. I always sometimes feel so inadequate for not coming from a ridiculously poor background. You know, sometimes I think, oh, gosh, I just don't have as good a story as some of these other guys, because I was kind of brought up okay, you know. We had a decent family. My parents loved me. Life was good. You know, I don't have that terrible, I was kicked out at 16 and, you know, my life was all terrible. But if you do, then, you know, and you may want to use that. You may want to use that as an incredibly... We have some amazing inspirational emails from people that have battled and won cancer, who've battled and won addictions, who've battled and won all sorts of different diseases and issues and problems in their life. And don't think for 1 second that I don't respect that. And if you've got that and you want to help that, to inspire, or use that to inspire other people as to where you are now, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all, provided, as I said, it's true. Don't just make it up. Or you could be a ranter. You know, you may want to be one of these people that goes out there and says, you know, this is how it is, and I'm going to tell you how it is, and I've seen a lot of those lately. That's kind of why I think I included that tonight. I have seen so many ranters lately. I'm not that keen on the ranter, to be honest with you, but it's really, really effective. These ranters that go out and say, you know, this is the reason why you're not earning money, stop messing around, I'm now going to show you. You know, some people just, they kind of empathise with that. They connect with that kind of approach. So you may want to be a ranter. And this was my little thing about, you know, just embellishing a little bit, just putting a little colour to your story. It's what I say, be true to yourself with cashmere. Yeah? So be true to yourself, tell stories that are true, but there is nothing wrong with adding a little cashmere to your story, okay? If you think it's going to, you know, just make people feel more inspired, that's the key, really, I think, to adding cashmere to your story. Is it going to add value to other people? Is it going to make them feel more... I mean, I listen to Tony Robbins all the time, right? This is the other thing as well, when we tell stories, is when we add little bits, after a few years, I bet you any money, that's how you'll remember it in your mind as well. But I listen to Tony Robbins all the time, and he has some great stories, great stories, but some of them are truly dramatic, and you actually think to yourself, was it really that dramatic? Or, you know, and all he's doing is he's adding a little bit of drama just to add to the story to make me feel even more inspired by his little bit of drama. And nowadays he probably thinks that's exactly what happened. Nobody likes boring, and the big one, what's in it for me? So your story must always have a story for the person that you're telling the story to. So it's not good enough just to sit there and tell your story. It must have a message. Sorry, not story, message. That was what I was looking for. So your story needs to have a message for the people that you're telling your story to. Okay? What's in it for me is that's why people will do the... I mean, let me tell you, I used to, before I met my beautiful, wonderful partner now, I used to be in a relationship which was pretty horrible, and I don't know if you guys know, Jeremy Kyle, anybody heard of Jeremy Kyle? I used to sit there sometimes in the morning watching Jeremy Kyle, equivalent of, what's his name, the American guy, is it Jerry Springer? I think equivalent of Jerry Springer, I suppose. Sometimes I'd sit there watching Jeremy Kyle and I'd see these guys come on airing their dirty laundry in public, and I'd think, oh my goodness, that's just like my relationship. So when people are listening to your story, what they automatically do is they put themselves kind of in your shoes, or they connect with your story. They see a part of your story in their own lives. So it's really important when you're telling your story, you do have that whole kind of what's in it for me sort of part of the story. Okay, you must always end your story with, right, and this is now how it pertains to you. This is now how what I'm telling you can inspire you and change your life. Okay, and simply portray the best of you. Alright, so what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to come out of the PowerPoint now, because I actually want to do a couple of exercises with you. I said to you on the copy for this content webinar, this is not just about me sitting here telling you what to do. It's time to get you guys out there and doing it, okay? So I'm now going to come out of this PowerPoint. I'm going to quickly have a look at your questions and make sure you're all okay. And then we're going to go and actually do some of this stuff, okay? So let me just press escape on there, and I'm just going to pull up my control panel, and I'm just going to ask, how is everybody? How are you doing? Does this make sense to you? Kathy says, part of my life has been a Jerry Springer story. Yeah. Yeah, does this make sense? Yeah, good, great, fantastic. Good. I really want you guys to get something out of this. You know, I want you to walk away from this webinar really kind of having something to go away with. Great, wonderful, yep. Oh, that's so good, guys. I'm so glad. Part of most people's lives has been a Jerry Springer story. Do you know what? It's so true, guys. Joe, what a wonderful thing to say. We could all do with appearing more human. Do you know, it's very interesting. Rhett and I were having this discussion the other day, and we were actually saying that we really do, with social media the way it is now and transparency the way it is now, this is exactly what people want. People now want to connect with you. They want to feel... Big brands are going to have to start to really connect with their audiences, connect with their users, add personality to their brand. Yeah? And we've all got stories, haven't we? We've all got stories. So C is saying, how does this translate into dollars? I tell you, C, because as you start to build your character and build your content, you're going to start getting people to engage with you. The more people engage with you and trust you and believe in you and believe that you're adding value to their life and doing stuff, they are going to buy from you. All of my customers buy from me because they trust me. That is the absolute first and foremost thing. You know, some of my material, there are so many people out there offering different courses on different things to do with social media. There are so many people out there offering social media services to businesses. Why would a business choose me over somebody else? Why would a student choose me over a different teacher? Because they trust me, because they know my story, because they feel like they know me, yeah? So even though I turn around and say to you, hey, be true to yourself with cashmere, yeah, if you've got a good enough story, you don't need to add any twinkles to it, okay? If you've got a good enough story and you add that into your branding, because I'm telling you now, there ain't a lot of cashmere in my story with my students. Kind of what you see is what you get on my videos. So that's how it translates into dollars. That's exactly how it translates into dollars. Karen, great. I'm just picking up different things here, guys. I'm not going through these in order. I'm just picking up different bits of what you're saying. Karen is saying it's really scary to be completely transparent. And Karen, I think what you need to be careful of here is that you don't necessarily tell everybody absolutely everything. Yeah, there are things that happen in your day or in your life that maybe aren't the best of you, and that you just don't want to share. Plus, I think probably a good little lesson as well for all of you guys is if you're doing videos and taking photos and things like that, just be careful not to share a photograph of the front of your house with your address on it or something, you know. So, you know, you just need to do this sensibly and be careful. Rick, great. Did you hear that the other day? Frank Kern's idea of no douchey selling. Don't be a douche. Absolutely true. Do not be a douche. I mean, if somebody now turns around and says, you know, if somebody from the, I don't know why it's in the internet marketing community, but seriously, if somebody gets on stage now and says, oh, you know, I was broke and on my knees and then I had a transformational moment and, you know, before they've even started, I'm sort of a bit, you know, gosh, the guy's being a douchebag. You can always tell. I think you can tell if somebody's being honest or not. If somebody's completely leading you a line, can't you? You can tell. So don't be a douche. Karen, how much of your life experience would you post about, and would you post personal stuff on Facebook? I do, yeah, I do. I'm just about to post today. We went and did. Anybody noticed how my voice is no longer croaky? Told you, didn't I? I start croaky, and then and then I go woohoo. Yesterday, my daughter had a friend over for the afternoon, and we went down to the beach and we released turtles into the wild, right? And it was absolutely lovely. What a fabulous experience that was. And tomorrow, because it's 20 to 5, and after I finish the webinar, I'm probably going to have a couple of hours kip. But when I wake up in the morning, I am going to put on Facebook some pictures of our turtle releasing experience. That's very personal. But what it does is, A, you know, some of my family are on Facebook, so it'd be great for them to see it. B, I want to share it because I think it's really nice stuff to share. And C, it also, you know, gives me a personal side. It shows people that I'm not just Joe Barnes, the Facebook person. It shows that I'm Joe Barnes, the mum, and Joe Barnes, the get out and release turtles into the wild person. And, you know, so just, Karen, you just have to be sensible. Don't release things that you don't want people to know about. Mari Smith, who is an amazing social media lady, she always says that whenever you go and you do a post or you release some content, always think about why you are releasing that specific piece of content. What is your objective with that piece of content? Are you doing good? You know, are you adding value? Are people going to enjoy it? She always says, make sure that you think about every single piece of content that you place. Okay? The Bank of Goodwill, yes. I'm just running through some of these guys and then I'm going to... yeah, Art's got it. You become their friend. Whether they realise it or not, you do. You become their friend. And people will always, you know, gosh, it almost sounds what's the word I'm looking for? It almost sounds manipulative, guys, but I don't want you to think it is in any way, shape or form. This is business. This is the new way of doing business. But you have to be genuine. I mean, I personally, I love connecting with my members. We've just set up a Facebook group for the SNA, and it's the best decision I ever made. We had a forum on the site. The forum was very impersonal. You had to go in, you had to kind of click and add your thread, and then other people might come. The Facebook group all of a sudden is very kind of community. We're all in there, we're all helping each other, supporting each other, and I can go in there and you know, make funny comments, and my partner Rhett can go in there, and it's now become like we're all a big bunch of friends in our Facebook group. Yeah, we're all like a big bunch of friends. So you have to be really genuine about who you are. It's like what I said up here, I think. What is it? What do you believe in? What are your values? Okay, so when you're telling your story, you need to be genuine, all right? And you need to be true to yourself. Okay? Okay, yes, Scott says this is the old way of doing business, the right way, the way grandma taught. You know, Scott, you're probably right. We're talking about this is the new way of doing business, but actually I think maybe it's simply that business got lost along the way a little bit, didn't it? And now, thankfully, social media's kind of, you know, brought it back up. And when I think about my offline business, I was terrible at running the business itself, as in the costs and all the rest of it. But I was great friends with all my customers, you know, my customer service, because that's me, that's who I am. And I got most of my business through referrals from my customers because they thought I was great. And they said, oh, God, you've got to go and work with Jo. She's a great laugh. You'll have a great time. Go and work with Jo. So guys, I want you to do something, okay? Now this is not really, I want you to go away tonight and I want you to think about your story. I want you to think about who you are, what your character is, the personality of your brand, okay? And who, you know, what your story is. What are some of the stories that you can share with people that you feel will inspire, will, and don't just go off on one, okay? Don't suddenly go onto Facebook and write a whole story about a terrible thing that happened in your life without a message. Make sure that your story has got a message attached to it, okay? But in the meantime, what I'd like you to do is actually go and place a piece of content right now on your walls, anything, because I think that the thing with content is people get so nervous about it, they get so sort of hung up in what are people going to find interesting, you know, whatever. So I've just been talking to you now for 45 minutes about what I hope would be fairly interesting content. So I'd like you to go, all of you now, go to your walls, go to Twitter, go anywhere and literally write a sentence about whatever's in your mind right now. Okay, anything. Just something maybe you've learned from this webinar that you just want to go and share, maybe something from your life, anything. I literally want you to go right now. Please even go to my wall, go to the Social Networking Academy wall, because I'd like to see some of your responses. Tag us, tag the Social Networking Academy wall in your post, or this is not a publicity stunt from my part. You don't have to tag us. I'm not asking you to suddenly go out there and tell the world about the SNA, but come, I want to see what you're doing. I want to see your posts. So go and do your post. Come to the SNA wall and put the post on there as well, or put the link. Go and do it now and put the link in here in the questions box. Show us the link. Show us your post. I want to see what you're doing, guys. I want you out there and I want you actually doing it. Just go and put something that's in your mind right now. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to do that. I'm going to answer a couple of questions while you're going and doing that. Okay? I'm going to go and answer some questions. What have we got there? Edward is saying, this is interesting because I had to have this down pat before I could even open my Facebook page doors due to the nature of my niche. Everyone needs to do this. I can tell you firsthand, it works. Thank you, Edward. Just taking a swig of coffee there while people are off. Joe Martin is saying, what a fantastic webinar. Thank you, Joe. I much appreciate that. Thank you. Wasim, that's a great question. And actually, Wasim, that's a fantastic question, but it's not about content. So I wonder if you could go and put that on my page, because I do have a huge opinion on what you've just said. Okay, that is absolutely, what a great question. It's about, Wasim's just asking that lots of social media experts talk about using social media, but haven't actually used social media to promote their own business because they have no other business except than to teach social media. What's my opinion on this? And my opinion on that is it's probably very true, but social media works because we've gone out and done it with other businesses out of the social media network. So social media is you know, it works. But Wasim, go and post that on my page because it's nothing. It's not actually to do with content, but I would love to answer you on that. Okay. All right. Sue is saying she wrote something this morning. So let's go and have a look at this. Oh, I just pulled up some big companies at the moment that are, because I think people say to themselves, how can a brand have a personality? So I went and grabbed some big companies this morning to show you. But let's go and see what Sue wrote. I love to see what people are actually doing. There we go. Look at this. Sue Ansari wrote a post on how she was a Zumba flunky. I've done Zumba once and I loved it, and I haven't done it again. And I'm not going to read it all, Sue, because we haven't got time, but I'm guessing this is a post all about your coordination was lousy, I never felt good about my moves, da 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 da. Absolutely fantastic. So this is a story, Sue's story, about how she wasn't really into Zumba or anything like that, and then finally she started, and now I'm guessing you're fit and fabulous. Look at you guys there. Wonderful. Great stuff, Sue. There you go. Ba-boom. Wonderful. What have we got here? We've got Robin. Robin posted something just before I suggested to go and post it. So let's go and put Robin's in. I'll be honest with you guys listening, some of you aren't SNA members, and I'll just tell you now that my favourite webinars in the world are ones where I get to actually talk and chat and do Q&As with my students and stuff like that. I much prefer that to just sitting here rambling on. So that's why I'm now sort of getting interactive on this webinar, because this is my favourite part. Robin, I can't find your page. Let's see if we can put that in the search bar. Oh. And find you that way. No. This one, is it, Robin? No. Alright, we'll have to come back to you, my lovely. Sorry about that. Can't find it. Is it on your wall? Well, I don't know what you posted, Robin, but look at this. You've got, you know, you've got stories here about your daughter, your husband. Lots of stories on there I can see, which is fantastic. Okay, let's have a look. What's Leslie? There we go. Leslie's gone out and just added some content to the world. Social media is about building relationships. It's the new old way of doing business. Brilliant. Love it, Leslie. Good stuff. Excellent. Okay, Mike's a bit worried about his privacy. I can totally understand your privacy there, Mike. Privacy issues. Lots of people have privacy issues. Look, the key thing here, Mike, is you must not give any information you don't want to give. Okay, that's really important. And I suppose I would probably ask you, what's the fear? What's the deep fear about privacy that you've got? What, you're worried that somebody's going to suddenly turn up at your house, or, you know, I don't know, what is that deep fear? But remember that all of the social media networks give you an opportunity to be very controlled with your privacy. That's not to say that they're not using your personal data for commercial gain, which is why I do think you need to just be very careful with what you do post, okay, and what information you're willing to share. So I wouldn't put down your addresses and, you know, personal information, anything about you that you really don't want social networks to kind of get hold of, okay? Thank you, Wasim, I appreciate that. Any wall, Stephen, your wall, my wall, any wall, just get out there and post some content. That's what I want you guys to do, okay? But most importantly tonight, what I really want you to do, I tell you what, who would like to create 5 minutes, who would like to create a piece of content right now, okay? Excellent. Fantastic. Bit of content here as well on Golf Girls. Just finished editing over a dozen golf fitness videos. What a great product. Golf fitness videos. And Golf Girls. I like that. Who's that? C. That's great. Really like that. Fantastic. Okay, guys. Now, I'd love to look at all your posts, but I'm not going to be able to... I just added a post on my Facebook fan page, but I don't know how to get the link on the comment to share here. Julie, I bet you've got it. Let's have a look here. There you go. Now, Julie, you've learnt something new tonight. There we go. Here's Julie's Skype tips. Let's go to Julie's wall. Here we go. Joe wants me to put some content here. I love using and teaching others to use Skype. I just found a new Skype translator. Now I know 3 of them. There we go. Look at this. So you've found a new Skype translator. I'd like to help more Skype networkers learn to put a targeted permission-based Skype contact list. That's interesting. I've never thought about building a permission-based Skype contact list before. That's interesting, that, Julie. See, I've got something from there. Okay, guys. So what I'm going to do now, if this is okay, I am going to now answer some questions from all of you guys. There was something else I wanted to do. Oh, yes. I was going to do tonight, I was going to show you, I was going to get one of you to come on live and do like a 3-minute interview with me, and I was going to jing it. And then send you the link, and you can go and stick that on your wall. Would that be of interest to anybody? Would somebody want to do that, literally? And then they've got content that they can literally go and... Yes, gosh, lots of you. Okay. The first person to write in the questions box 3 great questions. 3 great... What would you ask me? If I got you on live now, 3 questions that you would want to ask me, then boom, I'm going to get on live. I'm going to put... And make sure you've got a mic. Okay, make sure you've got a mic. And while you're doing that, I'm going to go and find Jing. Where's Jing? On my launch pad. Oh. Okay, Jing, ladies and gentlemen, it's a fantastic little tool. Do you really know what Jing is? Jing by TechSmith. If you go to, is it www.techsmith.com? If you go to techsmith.com and look up Jing, what a great little tool it is. It allows you to take screenshots. So can everybody see the top right hand side of my screen here? I've got the little yellow sun, and I can go and click on this button here, and look, I can now go and capture my screen. So I can pull it down like this, and I'm capturing my screen. And what I can do is I can now either have this as a screenshot, or I can actually have it as a little video if I want to. So if anybody gets on Skype now, what we're going to do, not Skype, sorry, GoToWebinar, we're going to quickly capture this as a little video, I'm going to send you the link as soon as we've finished. It's going to literally be 2 minutes, and then you guys can go and put it on your wall. So there's a piece of content for you. So let's head over to the social networking link, can I? Go, Noreen. Wow, look at this, fantastic. Look at all these comments. Wow, yay! Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Guys, well done. Fantastic. Oh, Wasim, fantastic. I'm going to come back to you on that, my love. Give me a couple of hours, will you? Because I'm probably going to have a quick sleep after this. Okay, so where's Noreen? Where's Noreen? Noreen, there you are. Alright, Noreen, are you ready? Do you have a mic? Are you ready? Install later, thank you, Jing. Okay. Noreen. Hello, Noreen.
Oh, am I unmuted?
You are unmuted,
hello?
My love. Yes, how are you?
Fine, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
I'm so excited.
All right.
Wow.
All right, let me get Jing.
I'm glad I tuned in.
Okay, are you ready? Are you ready with your questions?
I certainly am.
All right, well, hold on a second
Shall
then.
I tell me when to start?
Yep, let's get Jing going. Let's get the video going. And we're going to keep them really small, really short and concise, okay? Because I want this to literally
Absolutely.
be about 2 minutes, and then we're going to get it. You can take the link and put it on your wall. So, here we
Are we going
go.
to start by saying who you are, then they know who's talking?
Yep, go. 3, 2, 1. Noreen, it's your show. Go.
Hi, this is Noreen, and I have with me Jo Barnes from the Social Networking Academy, and she has agreed to give us her top tips for how to succeed in business online. She is a Facebook expert, and I'm sure her answers are going to help you grow your Facebook business as well. Jo, can you tell us that your main key to success, what do you think, if you could only list one item that caused you to succeed, what would it be?
Action. Taking action. We can learn, absolutely, we can learn all the tools are out there for us to learn, the mentors are out there for us to teach us. Everything we need to know is all there in front of us, but we will not do anything with it unless we actually take action and make it happen. So unless we take all those tools, all those learnings, everything that we've got out there, what we need to do, I go back to Tony Robbins because I love my Tony Robbins stuff. He says that success in life is actually 80% mindset, 20% tools.
Excellent. And if you could only take one action to grow your business, what would you do?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. If I could only take one action to grow my business, I honestly think it would be what I do, which is relationship marketing. It's you know, there are a few ways to grow your business, okay? And one of the key ways is to invest in advertising and marketing, and then to make a profit from your investment, okay? And that's really, really key to do that. That's one of the major things you really need to be doing in business. However, to be able to retain and get repeat business and really grow and build your reputation, all the rest of it, it really is about connecting and engaging with your customers, which is what is, you know, fantastic about social media. It allows you to connect and engage with your customers globally. So really, it would be this whole relationship marketing thing, this whole kind of getting to know my customers, engaging, talking, and doing this kind of stuff. That would be my biggest thing, I think.
And that fits in perfectly with social marketing, which social is all about relationships anyway.
Yep.
And one last question. If there's something you should stay away from like the plague, what would that be? What would be the biggest mistake you could ever make?
Oh, wow. I suppose that would depend on the type of business that you were in. I mean, if you were in an offline business, gosh, what would you stay away from?
If you were in an online business, let's say. Mostly in a business that was online.
Do you know what? I'm kind of going to bring this back round to focusing. A lot of my students and members know me for being the pick one niche girl. I would stay away from distraction. That would be my biggest thing. You must stay away from distraction. You must be so clear with what it is you want to achieve, have so much clarity with your goals that you stay away from distraction. There is distraction all around us, and the biggest mistake you can make is to be chasing several different rabbits, if you like. Yeah, an old friend of mine used to say to me, Joe, if you chase more than one, if you chase, two or more rabbits, then one's always going to get away. Or both will get away, I think he said. Sorry, let me just think about how that went. If you chase two rabbits, they'll both get away. But if you chase one, I can't remember the saying actually. Noreen, forget that. But I love these.
Stay away from every shiny new object that comes down the road.
I love these live interviews. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, stay away from shiny objects. Stay away from distraction. You must focus. You must follow one course until successful. Focus.
Oh, follow one course. I remembered you said that in one of your tapes. Follow one course, and I could not recall. I recalled the spirit, but not the exact.
Yeah, follow one course until successful. Focus. All right, there we go. We are down to 30 seconds. So thank you very much, Noreen.
Okay, thank you, Joe. I appreciate your being with us. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. I've just finished recording. What happens here is up comes the
great.
Jing preview video. So I'm just going to put Noreen down there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to now share this via screencast.com. So what will happen is that's just going to upload now. What this does, guys, is that now uploads into screencast.com, and when that's finished it's going to give me a little link, and I am then going to be able to just send Noreen that link, or anybody that link, anybody who wants it, and basically Noreen's then going to be able to just go onto her Facebook page and say, hey, this is an interview with Joe, and just put the link, and boom, there it is. People can click on that and go and watch that little video and listen to that little interview. So there's a piece of instant content. So thank you very much, Noreen. Thank you. What great questions.
Thank you. Oh, that was wonderful. I appreciate it so much.
That was fun.
I owe you one, so if you ever need a video tutorial, let me know.
Oh, Noreen, I will. Your video tutorial on how to put pin interest was brilliant. It's sitting on my blog, waiting for one of my developers to do something on the template so that I can release it. So it'll be released this week. So thank you very much for that. All right, so there we go, guys. That is how sort of quick and easy it is that you can create a little bit of content. Literally, you can jump on, you could go and chat to anybody who you think is interesting and ask them if you can jump on and do a 3-minute interview. Ask them 3 key questions and record that and go and create some content. So I've moved away a little bit from the story and the character line, but I didn't want to leave the webinar without giving you a couple of really key tips on how to kind of go and create instant content. All right, guys, so we've come up to the hour. And as I promised on my copy, I don't have any big sales pitch for you. All I'm going to say is if you're not a member of the SNA, then please come on board. We'd love to have you. That's it. That's my sales pitch.
Thursday night.
Oh, Thursday. Are we going to send out a link?
Oh, I'm going to send it now to them, but tell them what it is.
Okay, what we're doing, guys, just so you know, is on Thursdays we do coaching calls with our members from the SNA. This is our opportunity to speak to our members and answer all of their social media questions and, you know, run through any issues they're having and all that kind of stuff. And we also have a bit of a laugh as well, don't we, guys, that are on here? So any of you on this call right now, we decided to open up this Thursday's webinar to any of you. Okay, that is a sales pitch, to be fair, because we're asking you to come along to one of our members only question and answers and see if you like it. And if you do like it, then we hope that you'll sign up to be a member. But there is no, you know, you're not obligated to. So we'd love you to come along. So we're going to be sending out the link, Rhett. Is that what we're doing? You've got 2 different choices of time zones, and everybody who's registered for this webinar, we are going to be sending you out the link, okay? And you can come on one of our Q&As and ask us any questions you've got all about social media or anything at all, and we will help you. And so look out for that link, all right? Look out for that link. What time is the webinar, Sue? It's like, gosh, 10 different time zones. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning for us, unfortunately. But we'll send you the links, okay? And if you just put them in the chat bar, Rhett's just made those links available to all of you. So click on the links, and oh, hi Ryan, it's not Jing.com. Go to TechSmith. That's where you'll find Jing. www.techsmith.com. Okay, so 5 minutes of questions. Anybody got any questions on what we've talked about tonight? Here we go, TechSmith, and then just click on Jing. All right, Rowan? Yes, I know. I haven't done curating. Do you know what? An hour has flown so fast that I probably need to come back and do a whole thing on curating. But let me just give you a really quick tip on curating. Curating content, guys, is simply about taking other people's content and talking about it. It's about having your own opinion, right, on other people's content. So where I'd like you to start really is from your own kind of story, because I think that's really important that you kind of get that down, that you know who you are, who your character is, what your story is, all of that kind of stuff. Because then when you go and you get other people's content, then you can talk about it, you know, it's sort of from character, if you like. But really it's just about when people tell you all this fancy curating stuff and all it is going and grabbing other people's content and then putting it on your blog or sharing the article and adding your own opinion to it. So for instance, in some of my blogs I will actually refer to other people's information, and I will have quotes around it, and I will say this person said this or that person said this and I want to share it with you. So if you ever share anybody else's content, please always give them credit. Always give them credit. Caroline says, is curating something to do with preserving meat? It could well be, Caroline, yeah. Karen says, do you put your opinion on their blog or talk about it on your blog? Talk about it on yours, Karen. So curating content is like, you might come to my blog, Karen, and see a post that I've made and think, oh, that's really interesting, okay? And not necessarily want to have to write out the whole thing on your blog. So you'd literally copy and paste some of my information, put it on your blog and say, I found this really interesting information from Joe's blog today. This is what she said, and this is my opinion on it. That's pretty much it. That's all you would do. Judy says Skype is great for curating content. And I would put a link to their site, Karen. Yes, I would definitely put a link to their site. Yep. Roy, provided you give credit and provided that the reason you're doing it is because you want to share some of their information, then I would say no, it's not. You know, but if you feel more comfortable, I mean, a lot of people would just be happy that you've shared their stuff and that it's out there and you're telling people. If you feel that you want to, so for instance, my blog, guys, if you came and you took a couple of sentences off my blog to go and put on your blog to say, hey, I saw this on Joe's blog earlier and there was a link back to my blog and all the rest of it, I'd be really happy. If you feel more comfortable about actually going to the blog owner and saying, do you mind if I use some of your information, then feel free to do that. Okay, feel free to do that. But no, curating content is more about, Roy, it's more about just taking somebody else's information, provided you give credit, talk about them, say this is where I found it, it's interesting information. Do you know what, Roy, that's a great question, and 2 weeks ago I would have automatically said no, it's definitely not copyright infringement, don't worry about it. And then over the last couple of weeks with the Pinterest copyright stuff coming up, I have started questioning, everything is copyright, you know? It's really, and there's so many arguments about it. If it's on the web, it's out there, isn't it? You know, if you don't want your stuff shared, don't put it out there on the web, and yet people have a right to be able to put things out there and not have them. Gosh, it's such a grey area. But I think as long as you credit the person and make sure that you're talking about their blog and put a link to it, I think you'll probably be absolutely fine. No, it's still uploading. Yep, still uploading. 27 megs of 35. Art Leslie says use a bibliography. Yep. Denise says, what are the benefits of using a blog rather than just staying with putting your opinions and content on your Facebook pages? Great question, Denise. And I would say definitely you need a home. You need somewhere with your information and your stuff, because at the end of the day, Facebook is free. And if Facebook suddenly decides to disappear one day, or something happens, or they don't like your page, or they shut you down for any reason, you want your own home. You want your own place with your content on it, okay? So you really need to see Facebook as a lead generator, guys. Facebook is a lead generator to your home. You're guiding people to where you want them to go. Yeah, that's what Facebook is. Dee, could you post the interview link? I certainly can, Dee. Yep, no problem at all. Hi, Moona. What's your question? Rick, YouTube, yeah. Paul says, in marketing, the holy grail is word of mouth, and that is social media. That's so true, Paul, yeah. Mike says, can you post the same stuff on your blog as well as on your blog? I'm guessing that you're... Do you mean can you post the same stuff on social media as you do on your blog, Mike? Because I would say yes. Moona, how to relate SEO keywords to writing a blog? Okay, Moona, well, basically what it is, I mean, I'm not big into SEO, but It's just basically deciding what are the keywords. Oh, it's uploaded. It's uploaded. Now, I think all I do is Control V, which is paste, send to all. There is the link, ladies and gentlemen. Let me go over to the Social Network Academy and put here is the link to Noreen's interview with me. There you go. So it's on my page. Okay, guys, it's on the SNA page, and I've just sent it all to you as well. Great. There you go, Noreen. All it is, Muna, I know it sounds complicated, doesn't it? Keywords and everything, they always sound complicated, but it literally is as simple as thinking, what are people searching for? Okay, what do people want? So, you know, if they're looking for how to build a Facebook page, they're your keywords, how to build a Facebook page. So you just go and put those keywords in your blog. I know it sounds simple, doesn't it? And there's all these tools and tricks and Market Samurai for keywords and all that kind of stuff. But to be honest with you, Muna, I'm not big into SEO, and I tend to just kind of write from my heart, really. And hope that it... Trish, would you choose WordPress.com or .org for a blog? .org, Trish, because I host them myself. Okay, host them myself. It's much better to host everything yourself, because then it's yours. Again, WordPress.com is a free third-party thing, and you could fill it with information, and one day WordPress.com could go down, and you know you haven't got it. So, cool. How much content can you post from other people's articles or websites? What are reasonable limits? A paragraph or an entire article? I would probably just post a paragraph, Benjamin. Just post a paragraph and then link to the rest of the article. I think to go and literally take somebody's article and just post the whole thing on your blog would be a bit off. So I'd be creative about it and just maybe go and grab a link, go and grab a paragraph, talk about why you feel that this is, you know, important, or why it's informative, how it's going to add value to your audience, and then put a link to the entire blog post. Okay. Mike's just asking about copyright again, and I would just, all I'm going to say, Mike, is that, you know, using other people's information and referring to other people's information is as old as the hills. I mean, it's what we do all the time. Okay, but recently what's happened with Pinterest, there's been a massive amount of copyright issues over images and graphics and photos and things like that. We're really particularly talking about photographers more than anything else. People who've gone out, taken photographs, and are now posting them to the web and essentially saying they're copyright, and then people are then pinning them in Pinterest. So it's raised this huge kind of copyright issue. And all Roy was asking is, well, is it not an issue if you go and actually use somebody else's content? And in all honesty, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, okay? I don't have any legal qualifications, so this is purely my opinion, all right? And you obviously have to choose what you want to do. This is simply my opinion. But I always will go and find an article that I enjoy, that I think adds value. I will grab a sentence from that article and I will place it in my blog, and I will make reference to it and talk about it. I will credit the person who actually wrote it, and I will put a link back to their blog site. Okay, now in my opinion, I do not believe that that is copyright or will have any copyright issues. However, if you feel at any time uncomfortable in doing that, if maybe, like, for instance, you know me, you guys know me, so if you wanted to go and, you know, grab some of my blog, feel free. I'm more than happy for you to do that. You'll know other people. But if at any time you feel uncomfortable, then just drop the webmaster a line and just say, look, I've read this article, it's fab, do you mind if I use it? Okay? If that makes you feel more comfortable. Yep, you can all use the link, go for it, absolutely. Yep, enjoy. It is the old FB, Bob. I have not turned over to the timeline yet, I'm afraid, because I'm just waiting to see some of the old kinks ironed out. Alright, some of the old kinks. Helene, what about duplicate content if you put it on FB and your blog? That's not duplicate content in the Google sense of the word duplicate content. Duplicate content in Google language, they're talking about people who used to write blogs and put duplicate content all over their blog. Okay, the same blog. So they'd have an article, and then what they'd do is they'd essentially spin that article and maybe change the headline, maybe change some of the meta tags, maybe change some of the keywords, but essentially the information was the same. That's what they're talking about. Okay, I've got duplicate content all over the place. I put stuff on Google Plus, you know, that I've got on my blog, that I put on Facebook, All I'm doing is trying to get it out to as many people as possible. There is an issue, and again, I'm not an SEO specialist, so you'd need to speak to an SEO specialist. There is an issue, I believe, with link juice, that the more duplicates you've got of your stuff going out there, it could dilute the link juice to your blog. But to be honest with you, Helene, I'm way more worried about people seeing my stuff. I want people, you know, whenever I deliver some content, it's in order to deliver some value. It's in order to tell somebody something. It's in order to pass on a message. It's in order to teach somebody how to do something. And I am far more bothered about getting that out into my community, out onto the SNA, out onto the fan pages and all the rest of it, than whether or not it's going to dilute a little bit of link juice on my blog post. And the chances are, if I take that blog post and go and put it as a note or something, then it may well get to the top of Google anyway. So that's kind of where I'm coming from with that. But like I say, I am not an SEO specialist, so please don't quote me on that. Mike, do you like the curation model? Mike, do you know what? I almost don't like the word curation, because I think it confuses people. What I like is sharing information. And if I find some information that I think is really, really interesting, then I'm going to go and share it, yeah. And I'm going to put a link to it, definitely. Just to confirm, in the UK, .co.uk or .org. Depends what you want to do, Paul, really. Either or. Thank you, Joe, no problem. Oh, no, Moona, sorry, we started an hour and 15 minutes ago. Hour and 15 minutes ago. Oh, no, it doesn't, Kimberly. Oh, no. Kimberly just said the recording has no sound on the other end. Oh, my Jing recording. Hasn't picked up Noreen, I don't think. Ah. It should have done, yeah, it should, because I've got all my settings on my computer to do that. Oh, that is just... How annoying is that? Has anybody else listened to it? Darn, I know. Noreen? Do you know what, Noreen? I have a recording. Okay, guys, what I'm going to do is, don't worry, I've recorded this webinar, and I will have recorded that little snippet. So what I'll do is, when I download this webinar, I will cut out that little snippet, and I'll send you guys all the links, okay? I'll put it up onto YouTube, all right? And then I will send you guys all the links, okay? Oh, Ashton says it sounds good on his end. And some people are saying that you can hear it, but you can't hear her very well. All right, guys, no worries, okay? I promise you I will snip it out that little bit and I will send it all to you, okay? Whew. Monoral saying, when are you updating the current FB template? Okay, over the next couple of weeks, Monoral, yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to call it a night if that's okay, because it's 5:20 here, and I reckon my daughter's probably going to be up in the next hour. So has everybody enjoyed themselves? Have you enjoyed this evening's webinar? Have you got some stuff out of it? I want you to go away now, guys, yep, and start thinking about your character, start thinking about who you are, your story, your backstory, yep, some things that you can really get out there and share with people, engage with people, talk to people, yeah, because that's what people like. They like stories. And remember what Facebook have just changed everything, and over the next few months, weeks and months, they're going to be bringing out Facebook ads, and sponsored stories are going to get bigger and all the rest of it. And what was it the guy said on stage? Ads are good, stories are better, and they're absolutely bang on. Very, very insightful. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, thank you, Ray. What a lovely compliment. Thank you. Quick sales pitch. Come and join the SNA. Don't you love my half an hour, and the value is 25. In fact, that's it. The value of the SNA is $100,000, but tonight you can have it for only $397. Come and join. Oh, and guys, please do come and join as a lifetime. Come and get the 397 offer, because we are actually going to be, we're thinking about, and probably will sometime over the next month, closing down the monthly membership, just because there's so much value in the lifetime. $397 one off, and you know, we update the site, and oh, we've got so much. Caroline's going, love it, Maureen, love it. 100,000, but tonight, only tonight. We are revamping it at the moment. I'm really excited. All the Facebook changes have just kind of given me this big kick up the bum to completely streamline the S&A. So I'm putting in this whole kind of new course. Sorry, do you know what? I am a rotten salesperson, aren't I? I'm telling you all to join the S&A, and I'm not even giving you the link where to join. Go to thesocialnetworkingacademy.com. Okay, and then click here. Click here to get started today for free. Click on that link there, okay? When you get to the Social Networking Academy, just click here to get started today for free, and it will take you to this page here, which is the Choose Package page. And I urge you just to go for, don't ignore 12-month annual membership, by the way, because we're upgrading everybody to lifetime. The 12-month annual membership doesn't exist anymore. So it's $397 for life. The ClickBank thing will all come through as per year, etc., because we haven't changed the link yet, but we are going to be upgrading all of that to lifetime, just so you know. Cool. All right, guys. Kimberly, big kick up the bum. Yeah. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. It's been lovely to talk to you, and I will... Oh, link here, please. Sorry, Junie. Just go here. There we go. Send to all. Fantastic. And thank you to Rhett as well, who also got up at 4 o'clock this morning to assist and moderate and answer everybody's questions. He's a wonderful, supportive, fantastic man. So thank you to Rhett as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you take care. Have a lovely day, whatever you're doing. Get that content out there. I want to see lots of stories. Feel free to tag the SNA or even share it on our wall. We'd love to hear from you. But in the meantime, have a fabby day, and I'll speak to you all very, very soon. Thanks so much for your time. Thanks for joining me, and take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.